Welcome, you beautiful faces, back to Pommy and Oz. I hope we're all doing really well. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe. It does really help the channel out, and we can't thank you enough for the support and love that you've shown throughout the year. It's been emotional, and you know what? We're here today to talk about a 14-point loss and against Port Adelaide. And you know what? First, I just want to caveat it before opposition fans come. Port were good, okay? So I'm not taking it away from you. Fair play. I'm not going to fucking come here and make excuses, because I think excuses are probably what holds us back at times, trying to give outs where they're not. This one was a tough one to swallow. You know me, I try and be positive, and I try and look at it from a professional sporting background, as a coach, as someone that, you know, always tries to find something, some faint glimmer of fucking hope when the chips are down. And that was really poor, and it's a real disconnect. You watch that second quarter. I've watched the game 3 times, if you include watching it live. And the disconnect between that second quarter and the third is really, really spectacular. Like, that game was 100% lost at the contest. Winning the contested possession, as Voss said, if you're not winning the territory battle with that, you've got to get it away from trouble. You're fucked, to put it mildly. And Port really did bring that in the third quarter. And I think the key moment for me was the first 5 minutes. Blues go inside 50. They scramble it. It comes out the back. They kick a goal, Port do. And the writing was on the wall. It's really reactive at the moment. And you could see the life and the soul went out of the crowd. It went out of the players. And it became a game of hot potato, of not wanting to commit and not wanting to make mistakes. And you know what? Fear is a wonderful driver of many things, good and bad. Fear keeps us safe. Fear makes us not run across the road with our pants around our ankles. Makes us press the stop button to look left and right. But it can also be what holds you back. And that second quarter for me was, I agreed with Voss. That was who we are. That was who we are. Okay, we lose the stoppage battle. We scored, what, two goals from stoppage at that point? All of it from turnover. Who cares? It's a stoppage stat. There's a reason that Daniel Hoyne is correct in talking about turnover defence, and turnover scores is so important, because if you're deadly without the ball, that's a problem for the opposition. So you can make plans for when the opposition have the ball, but you make plans to score when you have the ball, and that makes you always in the game. And that second quarter to the third, seeing Elijah work so hard front and back, he was arguably our best player in that second quarter. To see him deployed on the wing in the third quarter is heartbreaking. You want him in and around the ball, in and around the clinches. Chera, you know what? I might be the opposite of other people. I don't mind him resting at half-back. But to prioritise Fogarty when you forward pressure is what keeps you in a lot of games, and it destroyed them in that second quarter. To move him on the ball and not move Chera on the ball full-time, and to make other changes elsewhere, you're asking for trouble. And this game here was just reactive from the players, from the coaches, from top to bottom. And it's infectious. Fear is infectious. All it takes is one person in the trenches to start crying for his mummy and saying that he's going to die, for a whole regiment to be consumed by that fear. Sometimes you've got to step up. You've got to step up to the plate. You've got to be tough around the contest and know it's going to be a shitstorm, and say, you know what, today is the day. And I would have loved Elijah in that third quarter to put his hand up and say, nah, I'm the man. This is my game. This is my game. And feels that at times over the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's gone back to Cripps, Kerner or bust. And these boys are so much better than this, man. They're so much better. And it's not all doom and gloom. They can still turn it around. Like, as quickly as we went from being the whipping boys in the AFL to a side that was talked about winning the flag, it can turn quickly. But it's got to turn smartly and fast. We've got to remember, we keep hearing from Vossi, brand, system. You can't stray from the system, though. You've got to back it in. I'd rather get battered every week by 100 points, sticking to our strengths. And at the moment of the last 5 weeks, we have really played reactive football. And our brand is all right. And I don't think we've been worked out. I think we've been worked out by ourselves. We see the pressure coming. As soon as we started to make it a contest in the third, I don't know what was said to them. The movement got shorter and shorter. We wanted to play a territory game, which 2 years ago we were very good at. You can't rely on your turnover game if there's no territory being played, because it means you're too condensed, you're too near each other, and it's so easy to pick us off. In that third quarter, it felt like we were a sitting duck. It looked like a duck had its wing broken. You were just waiting for someone to put the shotgun through its head and just end it. And instead we were toying. We were being toyed with. And ultimately, the last 10 minutes of that game, we started to come out of our shells. And there's a lot of questionable decisions in here. Like, I'm not going to sit and pan them for going down the wing, because you've only got to go to the library and read a book on AFL 101. The safest thing to do when you're under pressure is play down the wings. The bit that I will pan them for is playing Motlop and Owies as your targets there, because you've deployed Charlie Kerno at fullback and brought Lewis Young down the back as well. So you've flooded your back half with tall players, and you're kicking to players who are 5'8". You ain't doing the AFL 1. You've only got to do AFL coaching level 1 to find that is the legitimate tactic under pressure. Play to the fat side of the ground, make a contest, create a stoppage, buy yourself some time. You ain't making a stoppage. You ain't breaking it even. When Zerk Thatcher's on fucking Matty Owies on a one-on-one, who's winning that? He'll win it on the deck. There's a weight limit in boxing for a reason. I don't care how clever you are. If you're 70 kgs and 5'8", you might knock out everyone who's 5'8" and 80 kgs. 75, you may. When you're paying someone 6'8" at 200 kgs of solid muscle, you're getting knocked out no matter how quick you are if you get caught. And that is the problem there. It was very reactive, and we were inviting pressure, and it's great when we invite pressure when we do it in the second quarter. The pressure was coming because we were weak around stoppage, but we didn't play that extra around the ball. We played aggressive. We made them kick quickly and kick fast. And I felt for Kemp in this game, because once the game became a little bit more free-flowing for them and everyone was congested, it became more one-out, which meant that they could go deeper. And Ratically is going to batter Brodie Kemp one-on-one. In the second quarter, when Cowan had the ascension, you didn't really notice it so much, because that ball was being made to be played quick, which is Brodie Kemp's strength. On the deck, one-on-one, if he's running at a ball, he's going to win that battle against Ratically. When it's slow and it's stodgy, Brodie Kemp's a sitting dog. And I felt for Brodie Kemp, because he's going to cop hate. Yes, he lost the contest, do you know what I mean? But you got to fucking help him out, man. It's not that hard. You made tactics, you made systems to help players out. You don't expose them. And at times we were exposed by this like chaotic approach. And it feels like sometimes the coaches are desperate to be top 6 for every stat metric. I love stats. It's fucking impossible, though. Your DNA doesn't lie. And when you're relying on things that are heavy running, you get found out. You look at Collingwood, playing on hard running. If that's your one wood and that one wood's taken away, it's already unsustainable. Everyone tires. You've got to have plan B, plan C. And when our plan B is kick it fucking long to small people on the wing and hope they create a stoppage, you're destined to fail. Doesn't matter how good you are. That was really poor. And we're going to get into the metrics, but I am so disappointed, because they are better than what they're showing. They are so much better. And I am so sorry that this is happening. I wish I could stop it, but I can't. I'm just a human being. Only they can. And they can stop it. But it's really shelving whatever's been said in the last 5-6 weeks and go back to what you are. You are an ugly football team that plays with heart, plays with courage, that looks to break even at the contest, and it looks to get the ball forward and play manic pressure. And that is who you are. And if you can't be proud of what you are, boys, and I'm talking to you players, that is so fucking incredible to be elite at something. Mere mortals strive to just be good at one thing. And if that's who you are, fuck what anyone says. That's who you are. I'm proud that that's who you are. Go back to it. Don't care about sexy football. We ain't here to fucking win cosmetic beauty contests. We're here to win football matches. And if our methodology is get the ball forward, manic pressure, and it's chaotic and it's a mess, it's a fucking wonderful mess, because the Eton mess is one of the best desserts ever. And that was invented because some twat dropped a meringue. So just drop the meringue and eat it, and just lay a strawberry syrup over it. It'll be reet, boys. It'll be reet. Because sometimes the best motivation, as the great Duke of Wellington said, if you can't smart the opposition, just teach your boys that death isn't an option. That's it. Live by the sword and die by it, boys. Because this control malarkey and stuff I'm seeing in that third quarter, fuck me, we couldn't control a remote control car, so why are we trying? Just play what you do. Be your brand. Own it. I like our brand. You know what? I like that Blue Collar Blues. I miss putting that as a thumbnail. Let's get into the stats then. So I've made these new things. I do listen to you. I really didn't want to do the review, to be honest. Didn't want to watch the fucking game twice. But I did. So let's have a look at it. Stoppages. So what you'll see on your screen is I've got a bar chart. I've got the raw numbers, and then I've got them little numbers in the bar chart. The differential. I've been made to feel small. That's all good. I read Twitter, so I'm used to it. Here we are. So Carlton, 15 points from stoppage, 44. And this is a real concern here. The Blues in that second term just couldn't get the ball away. In that second half, we really went from that second quarter where you saw the methodology was win the tap and just get it forward. Fogarty will do the rest. Motlop will do the rest. We'll make it tight. They went to play it too much. It was like hot potato. You could really sense the players in around that ball, and that makeup in that second half was really, I don't want to be the guy to make a mistake, so I'm going to hand it off. There was so many handballs to players already being tackled. It was really poor, and we were down 26.2 from stoppage, which when you talk about our stoppage defence, it's never so bad when our stoppage defence is pretty good when you're scoring, but when it's down by 26.2, really makes the defence the opposition being plus 13.2 from every week. To have 44 in this game and dominate that's a real concern. And at times, the best form of defence is attack. And playing Fogarty on the ball, no disrespect to him because he does his job, he needs to be there to help us when we do get it out. When the cure is now becoming the prevention of the cure, it's just so counterintuitive. At the moment, we're pouring Evian water on a fucking chip fire. And some twat just needs to get the wet blanket. It's really dire around stoppage. Like, we've gone from round 5, round 6, where it looked really sexy, where we'd lay the trap, you'd play Jordan Boyd in that kind of half-back role as the extra, looking to try and force pressure as soon as the ball is won out of stoppage to create repeat stoppages or force them to go long, which you saw in the second. Ironically, our 2 scores, so 12 points in that game in the second quarter, when we looked to put pressure on quickly with Hewitt and Cripps. And Kennedy really looked to make you go quick, which I'm sorry, I know people will hate me for this. Pitternet, Kennedy, Cripps and Hewitt is the best plan at the moment. Make it hard to get out. Make it go long. It's game over when they kick it long because Carlton trifle it up on turnover. And look at the turnover scores, 43 points to Blues, 29. And that's majority in second quarter as well. Down by 23.8 points, the Blues. Our turnover defence, best in the league, it killed them. They were down by 20.4 and they've been rising in this metric. Why shelve it from the second? It wasn't pretty in the second. We were getting destroyed around stoppage. The beautiful thing about being destroyed around stoppage, though, was it was all long roosts. So we were just trifling it up and then killing them on the overlap. We really have to just embrace that brand. I can't answer why we're trying to be creative when the methodology has been all year. Yes, it's scrappy. Yes, it's not nice. It's not winning the Victoria's Secret Model Award. It's knobbly knees at Blackpool Beach, our stoppage defence. But it makes the turnover game sexy. Embrace Andy's knobbly knees. Defensive half, we were down by 8.4. They were down by 23.2, which is really, really amazing that our forward pressure really did negate it. Because if you told me at the start of this game, killing their movement off the back half, and we were 33-18 full time, I would have said, fuck me, we've won this game. I wasn't expecting us to shelve our stoppage and turnover game. We really did sit back, though. It was a real early forward pressure, which then left loads of space in the midfield if they did get it out, which they found it hard to do. But then they started running it by foot. So if you avoided that first wave of pressure, you were right into the guts of Carlton's territory. And then it was so easy because then Whittaker had a one-on-one with Kemp. And then Whittaker had to play with two forwards on him. It was so simplistic, this area. And you look at the forward half here, this is a real concern for me. Although Carlton stifled the forward half, they couldn't get any turnover. 32 points playing 14 on, down by 23, up by 16.2. There is the DNA to beat Carlton. You slow Carlton's movement down the back half and you stop that slingshot. Carlton starts sitting back. They can't turn it over from the forward half. A side that was number one from forward half turnovers, that is plummeting every week. This is a big concern for Voss. You've got to go back to it. Yes, it's bold. Yes, it's brash, but it's got to be early pressure. And then the centre bounce. Not 1 point scored from centre bounce when we are the best team in the league, 666, because it's one-on-ones. We were playing small, okay, but guess what? The mandate when you're playing small is the same as when you're playing in the wet. Get the fucking thing forward. How many handballs do we have in a centre bounce win? It's absolutely insane. Like, it reminds me at school when you used to play with the crap kids at soccer, the way the teacher used to punish you was he used to make you have to pass to every player on the team, all 11 players before you scored. It was the way that he stopped you dominating shit sides. It looks like Voss has said that. All right, boys, everyone's got fucking handball at least once before you get centre clearance. This was woeful. This, and I can't even blame Pitternet for this, because when the ball did get won, just get rid of the fucking thing. And they were 1 down. We were 16 down. If we played our normal way, we win this by 4. -12. That is a concern. That is an area there that Voss has got a quick, smart fix it and be bold and be more industrious. The pressure acts here, plus 34 for the last 5 games for Port, plus 6 for the Blues. That pressure from Port was insane. And after getting battered in the second, they really did try and slow Carlton down, and they were so successful about it. And the Blues were chasing the ball in the third quarter. This should have been a lot more. The pressure numbers were really, really poor. And look at the tackles. To be plus 6 just shows how hard we have to work. So many loose tackles. And what is fascinating by the Blues is they didn't look to take that contact on. Even though they were getting destroyed in stoppage, when we got the tackle, no one was looking to handball that or just play it forward and play territory. That's what Port did. They got tackled, just get it forward. Just get it forward and keep going. We looked to get stoppage, which we were getting hemorrhaged in. It's a real bizarre performance because Port did their homework. We talked about it in the preview. Pressure, slow Carlton down, stagnate its movement, take away the territory. We're the number 1 territory side in the league, Port, we're thinking. If we can make it harder for them, oh boy, we're going to win this. And look at the tackles inside 50. Again, we've lost this, and we haven't just lost it. This is Russia's march to Berlin 1945. It's just unstoppable at the moment. This tackle's inside 50, and I don't know why we keep moving Fogarty, because he's helped me, Obi-Wan. He's my only hope. That pressuring intent inside 50, in that third, at times there's players just watching players come out. And the territory battle, it looks really good if you just look at Port's net from the last 5 games, down by 460. But then you see Blues. That second half felt like we were trying to move the ball in gale force winds. Like, just kick the ball forward and put pressure on. That's what you were doing in the second, and it looked so good. Port didn't like it. You've got in smaller for a reason. And we were moving the ball like it was 1985 kick mark with the smallest team in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, a forward line hasn't been that so small since Snow White went and saw the Seven Dwarfs kick a footy. The fuck is going on? That was poor. That territory battle, honestly, that... Lots of questions. And then we look at the arcs. And as you can see, not much has changed in the arcs. The big one for me, when you look at this, is the goals per inside 50, down by 12 for the Blues, at 20% for this game, playing 19.6, which is only a small margin for them. The scores per inside 50, the Blues, because they sat back so much, it naturally affects them. You saw this, though, with the Blues, the reluctance to go deep inside 50 because they weren't having that deep forward press. There was no underlap and overlap run when the ball carriers were there. So when they did kick in, it was just them long bombs to nothing. And that's a real concern for me, because the second quarter, you saw it, that lovely overlap, that stun. I had runners inside when I had the ball. That kind of stopped, and people were starting to protect themselves, almost in anticipation for losing it. And that's where the coaches have got to get this right. We're really reactive when we see one thing. That first goal Port kicked in the third quarter, you saw it very quickly, Carlton react. Get deeper, sit back. Then that means when you do win the ball, the only option available to you, because everyone is condensed, was down the wing, which then means it comes back and back and back. If you bang on a door long enough and hard enough, eventually it fucking opens. Law of averages. This game here is perfectly set up for next week, because Collingwood, the one thing they can do, whether they're playing well or not, is put pressure on. And the Blues have got to be bold and ostentatious. And this was really an unwillingness to play the dirty ball. Rebound 50 rate, as we know, was all normal. And this one here was a big one for me. The intercept marks, even though you're scoring from turnover, the willingness to peel off your man, they really did play 1 foot behind at all times. And that's a real concern for me. Port had it so easy. Them kicks, and I can't explain to you late in the third, having no forwards above 5'5". This really, really was kind of lucky that it wasn't much. And the one-on-one loss, as you can see, the Blues still won this one, only 28.6% of one-on-ones lost versus 32.1%. It rose by quite a lot, though, 7%. Another one-on-one that Whittaker lost. He lost 1 out of 8, though. That's phenomenal from Whittaker. And these are the big ones that Voss has talked about. Contested possessions. He talked heavily about this. He did, Vossi, in his presser, winning the contested possessions. This meters per gained, if you're winning contested possessions, though, and it is contested, you've got to look for the uncontested, and you've got to look for territory. And you can see meters gained, we slowed them down. We, again, over the last 5 weeks, it has remained at this, where it was 18-19, and we were getting excited about it. The lack of ability to take the game on, get the ball moving forward. And when Voss says our brand, he's correct. It is pressure-based. It is one-on-ones. It is getting the ball forward. That wasn't quite there. A lot of questions for me in the personnel. Jack Carroll given way too much responsibility on the ball and then moved out wide. Why wasn't Hewitt moved up there? I mean, why wasn't Chera moved up there? Play a bit more. Because I didn't mind his second. His second, he outperformed Sard when Carlton was starting to get going. Had more meters gained, looked to take it on. Elijah was phenomenal with his intercepts. Why wasn't Elijah played on the ball? Well, if you want to try something different, don't sit back. Just change the personnel. It's a really interesting one, and it broke my heart a little bit, this one, because I feel like this game here was the first game I've seen where coaching and players have to be questioned in their application, because they weren't at the races, and there's still a long time to go. They can still fix this, and I'm still going to back them in. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to fucking wave the white flag, because that's not me. Because Popper didn't raise no coward. Got to face this head on, and the fire next week is insane. This is this is our fiercest rival recently. This game has always meant something, and it's a chance to kill their 8 chances and to really cement ours, because we deserve a home final, and now we are in a shit fight for it. And this is where champions rise when it's when it's problem time. It's got to be better. Time is now. We are there with you, boys. We believe in you. You've just got to believe in yourself and get out of your own, whatever it is. Because everyone feels reactive. Fans, club, coaches, players. Own the moment. Because this will pass you by before you know it. Hope everyone's okay. We'll have a load of content this week. I've got a few trying things. I've spent way too much money. Mrs. Pom hates me at the moment on adding some things to the office. So we've got some really exciting things to come. I'm going to have a few lives this week because I've missed you all. I just want to fucking hang with you guys and girls. So if you could do me a solid, you find yourself coming back here, please like and subscribe. Like I say, 60% of you aren't subscribing. It really does help out. Just makes me feel a little bit better about myself. But peace, love, and light. Pom out.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad.